I used to think that opening your home to family meant creating a sanctuary of love and support. But at 71, I've learned that sometimes generosity is just an invitation for people to walk all over you. Literally, in my case, since my own daughter-in-law decided I should sleep on the living room couch while she redecorated my master bedroom. That thought burned in my chest like acid as I watched Celeste arrange throw pillows on what used to be my bed, chattering excitedly about the fabulous garden party she was planning in my backyard. My name is Vivienne Hartwell, and I'm a retired librarian from Maplewood, a quiet suburb about an hour outside Portland. After my husband Edgar passed 3 years ago from a sudden heart attack, I thought I'd spend my golden years tending to my prize-winning rose garden and maybe writing that mystery novel I'd always dreamed about. Instead, I found myself living in what felt like a hostile takeover of my own 1920s craftsman home. It started innocently enough. My son Garrett had always been the gentle type. Too gentle, perhaps. When he married Celeste 5 years ago, she seemed charming enough at their wedding. Blonde, bubbly, with a laugh that tinkled like wind chimes. She worked as a social media influencer, whatever that meant, and was always taking photos of her elaborate coffee drinks and designer handbags. When Edgar died, Garrett suggested they move in temporarily to help me through the grief. "Just until you get back on your feet, Mom," he'd said, squeezing my hand. "The house is so big, and you shouldn't be alone." It seemed reasonable. The house was indeed large, 4 bedrooms, 2.5 baths, with a wraparound porch and that magnificent garden Edgar and I had cultivated for decades. What I didn't anticipate was that temporary would stretch into 2 years, and helping me would gradually transform into them treating me like an unwelcome tenant in my own home. The changes started small, almost imperceptible. Celeste would rearrange my kitchen cabinets for better flow, she'd say, her manicured nails tapping against the granite countertops Edgar and I had saved up to install. Suddenly, my coffee mugs were on the top shelf I could barely reach, while her collection of trendy mason jars took prime real estate at eye level. "Oh, Vivienne," she'd coo when I struggled with the step stool. "You really should be more careful at your age. Maybe we should think about making this kitchen more senior-friendly." Senior-friendly, in my own home. The word stung like a slap, especially when delivered with that saccharine smile. Then came the suggestions about my belongings. My collection of first edition mysteries, lovingly accumulated over 40 years as a librarian, suddenly became clutter that makes the living room feel dated. The antique piano Edgar bought me for our 25th anniversary was taking up too much space, and honestly, who plays piano anymore? When I protested that I still played every evening, Celeste laughed that tinkling laugh. "Oh, sweetie, you mean those old songs? No one wants to hear that anymore." Garrett, bless his conflict-avoiding heart, would just smile weakly and change the subject whenever these conversations arose. "You know how Celeste is," he'd whisper to me later, as if her dismissiveness was some adorable quirk rather than calculated disrespect. The financial boundaries eroded just as gradually. First, it was asking me to pick up groceries since you're already going out. Then it became, "Could you cover utilities this month?" Garrett's commission was lower than expected. Before I knew it, I was funding their lifestyle while they treated my home like their personal playground. Celeste would host her influencer friends for photo shoots in my garden, trampling my carefully tended flower beds while they posed with iced lattes. When I mentioned the damage to my prize roses, she waved me off. "Plants grow back, Vivienne. Besides, this content is helping me build my brand. You should be supportive of family success." I bit my tongue so often I'm surprised it still functioned. The real warning sign started about 6 months ago when Celeste began what she called her home optimization project. She'd spend hours on Pinterest and Instagram, screenshotting photos of minimalist bedrooms and modern living spaces that looked nothing like my cozy, book-filled home. "You know what this place really needs?" she announced one Tuesday morning, coffee cup in hand as she surveyed the living room like a general planning a battlefield strategy. "A complete aesthetic overhaul. These dark wood tones are so depressing, and all these books everywhere. It's like living in a museum." I watched her tap notes into her phone, photographing my furniture from unflattering angles. My heart sank when I realized she was probably creating a before portfolio for some social media transformation project. "Celeste," I said carefully, "I'm quite fond of my home the way it is. Edgar and I chose every piece together." She looked at me with that pitying expression she'd perfected. "Oh, honey, I know change is hard at your age, but sometimes we have to let go of the past to make room for better things. Trust me, I have an eye for design. My followers are always asking for home decor tips." The next week, she started dropping hints about needing a proper master suite for content creation. She'd complain about the lighting in the guest room they occupied, how the morning sun was totally wrong for her skincare routine videos, and how she needed a space that reflected her personal brand. When I reminded her that the master bedroom was, well, mine, she laughed. "Of course it is. I'm just thinking out loud about optimization. Although, practically speaking, wouldn't it make more sense for the people actually using the space for work to have the better room? I mean, you mostly just sleep, right?" Garrett, as usual, was conveniently absent during these conversations, either at work or suddenly very interested in his phone. I started to notice how he'd developed an uncanny ability to disappear whenever Celeste began her suggestions about improving my life. The final warning came when I overheard her on a video call with one of her influencer friends. "The house has such good bones," she was saying, "but it's stuck in like the 1990s. Once I get the old lady situated somewhere more appropriate, I can really make this place shine." The morning that changed everything started like any other. I woke up in my own bed in my master bedroom, made coffee in my kitchen, and stepped out to tend my roses in the early dawn light. By evening, I was sleeping on the living room couch with a throw pillow that smelled like Celeste's vanilla perfume. I had spent the day at the Maplewood Library's volunteer book sale, helping sort donations and chatting with fellow book lovers. It was one of my favorite monthly activities, a reminder of my professional life and the community I'd built over decades. When I returned home around 4 in the afternoon, humming contentedly, I found the front door propped open with a decorative rock. Inside, chaos. Furniture was shifted around the living room, and I could hear Celeste's voice echoing from upstairs, directing someone with authority. No, the dresser goes against the far wall. We need the natural light from both windows for optimal filming." I climbed the stairs, my heart already beginning to race. The guest room door was wide open, and I could see Garrett awkwardly maneuvering my vanity table, Edgar's anniversary gift to me, down the hallway. Behind him, 2 young men I didn't recognize were carrying my mattress. "What's happening here?" I called out. But my voice was drowned out by Celeste's delighted squeal from inside my bedroom. "Perfect! This is going to be amazing for my morning routine content." She emerged, flushed with excitement, wearing yoga pants and an oversized sweatshirt. "Oh, Vivian, you're back. Come see what we've accomplished." I stepped into my master bedroom and felt my knees nearly buckle. The space had been completely transformed. My reading chair was gone, replaced by a modern accent chair in stark white. My bedside tables, inherited from my grandmother, had been swapped for sleek nightstands that looked like they belonged in a hotel. Most jarring of all, a professional-looking ring light stood in the corner, aimed at the bed, which was now made with crisp white linens instead of my soft blue florals. "Isn't it gorgeous?" Celeste spun around, arms outstretched. "I finally have the space I need for my wellness content. The lighting is perfect, and look." She gestured toward the ensuite bathroom where I could see my toiletries had been boxed up, replaced by an array of skincare products arranged like a miniature department store display. "Where are my things?" I managed to whisper. "All safe and sound downstairs," she chirped. "Well, most of them. Some things didn't really fit the new vibe, so Garrett donated them to charity. You don't mind, do you? You've got more than you need anyway." That's when Garrett appeared in the doorway, looking like a man facing execution. "Mom," he started, but I held up my hand. "You donated my belongings without asking me?" "Just some old stuff," Celeste answered for him. "Those outdated picture frames, some books you had duplicates of, and those heavy blankets that didn't match anything. I stood in what used to be my bedroom, watching Celeste adjust her ring light for the perfect angle, and something inside me crystallized into diamond-hard clarity. This wasn't about room optimization or better lighting. This was about erasing me from my own home, bit by bit, until I became nothing more than a convenient source of free housing and grocery money. "Where exactly am I supposed to sleep?" I asked, my voice unnaturally calm. Celeste barely looked up from her phone, where she was apparently checking camera angles. "Oh, we set up the most adorable little space for you downstairs. The couch is actually super comfortable, and this way you won't disturb us when you get up early for your walks." The couch. The living room couch. In my own home. I looked at Garrett, really looked at him, waiting for him to say something, anything, that would indicate he understood the magnitude of what was happening. But he just stood there, shoulders hunched, avoiding my eyes like a child who'd been caught breaking something valuable. "The guest room wasn't suitable?" I asked. "Well," Celeste said, finally looking up with that patient expression she used when explaining obvious things to dense people. "I need the guest room for my equipment storage and backup outfits for content creation. Plus, it's going to be my meditation space. I'm launching a whole mindfulness series next month." I nodded slowly, as if this all made perfect sense. "I see. And you moved my belongings without consulting me because you were out, and we wanted to surprise you." Her smile was so bright it could have powered the ring light. "I know change is hard, Vivian, but once you adjust, you'll see how much better this arrangement works for everyone." For everyone. I almost laughed at the absurdity of it. That night, as I lay on the couch with a thin throw blanket that kept sliding off, I listened to the sounds of my house settling around me. Celeste's voice drifted down from above as she recorded something about gratitude practices and creating sacred spaces. The irony wasn't lost on me. I stared at the ceiling and thought about Edgar. What would he say if he could see me now? The woman who'd managed a library staff of 15, who'd negotiated with difficult patrons and demanding administrators, who'd raised a son and built a life, reduced to a guest in her own home. Something shifted in my chest, like a lock finally clicking into place. I wasn't angry anymore. Anger was too hot, too reactive. What I felt was cold, calculated determination. I'd spent my entire career organizing information, solving problems, and planning ahead. It was time to put those skills to use. The next morning, I woke up with a crick in my neck and a plan crystallizing in my mind. I made coffee quietly, not wanting to wake the content creators upstairs, and sat at my kitchen table with a notepad, the old-fashioned kind, since Celeste had appropriated my laptop for her business needs. First, I needed to understand my legal position. I pulled out the file folder where I kept important documents and confirmed what I already knew. The house was in my name only. Edgar and I had paid off the mortgage 15 years ago, and when he died, the deed transferred to me completely. Garrett and Celeste had no legal claim to the property whatsoever. Next, I needed professional advice. I called Harold Brennan, Edgar's old friend who'd handled our wills and estate planning. "Harold, it's Vivian Hartwell. I need to discuss some property matters. Could we meet this week?" "Of course, Vivian. Everything all right?" "It will be," I said, and meant it. While I waited for the appointment, I began documenting everything. Every financial contribution I'd made to their lifestyle, every boundary they'd crossed, every decision they'd made about my property without consultation. As a librarian, I understood the power of detailed records. My composition notebook filled with dates, amounts, and descriptions, all written in the precise hand I developed over decades of cataloging. I also started taking photographs. Celeste's takeover of my bedroom, her equipment scattered throughout the guest room, the way my personal belongings had been shoved into corners like unwanted clutter. I even recorded one of her morning wellness videos from outside the bedroom door, where she talked about creating boundaries with negative energy and surrounding yourself only with people who support your growth. The irony was delicious. 3 days later, I sat in Harold's law office, my documentation spread across his mahogany desk. He reviewed everything with the thorough attention I remembered from Edgar's estate planning. "Vivienne," he said finally, removing his reading glasses, "you have every legal right to ask them to leave. This is your property, and they're essentially guests who've overstayed their welcome. What if they refuse? Then we proceed with formal eviction proceedings. But before it comes to that, I think we should explore your other options." He leaned back in his chair. "Have you considered selling?" The word hung in the air between us like a perfectly timed revelation. Selling. Of course. "The market is excellent right now," Harold continued. "Properties in Maplewood, especially well-maintained craftsman homes with mature gardens, are in high demand. You could potentially get significantly more than you paid, even accounting for improvements you and Edgar made over the years." I thought about Celeste's excited chatter about her garden party, how she'd been planning to use my roses as backdrop for some elaborate social media event. "How quickly could we proceed?" Harold smiled. "How quickly would you like to proceed?" By the time I returned home from Harold's office, Celeste had apparently decided I needed a heart-to-heart talk about my adjustment period. She cornered me in the kitchen while I was making lunch, perching on one of the stools with her phone in hand. "Vivian, I can tell you're struggling with the room changes," she began, her voice dripping with false concern. "I totally get it. Change is super hard, especially at your stage of life. But I really think once you settle into the new routine, you'll love how much more efficient everything is." I continued making my sandwich, focusing on spreading peanut butter with mathematical precision. Efficient for whom? For all of us. Like now I can create content without worrying about disturbing you, and you have the whole downstairs as your space. It's like having your own apartment, my own apartment, in my own house, while paying all the bills. Plus, she continued, warming to her theme, I've been thinking about ways to make this arrangement even better for everyone. You know how you're always talking about wanting to write that mystery novel? Well, what if we converted the basement into a little writing nook for you? I saw the cutest Murphy desk on Instagram that would be perfect down there. The basement. She wanted to relocate me to the basement. That's very thoughtful, I said evenly, but I prefer natural light when I write. Oh, but there are these amazing full-spectrum LED lights that are actually better than natural light. And it would be so quiet down there. No distractions from my work upstairs. That evening, Garrett attempted his own version of damage control. He found me reading on the couch, my new bedroom, and sat down with the careful posture of someone approaching a wild animal. Mom, I know this is an adjustment, he began, unconsciously echoing his wife's words. But Celeste's career is really taking off. This content creation thing, it's actually bringing in decent money now. And if she can build her brand from here, maybe we can start contributing more to household expenses. I looked at my son over my reading glasses. Garrett, when you moved in 2 years ago, what did we agree the arrangement would be? He shifted uncomfortably. Temporary, just until we got on our feet. And has that changed? Well, I mean, things evolve, right? Celeste's work requires a stable environment for content creation. Moving around would hurt her follower engagement. I bookmarked my page and set the book aside. So the plan is to stay indefinitely. Not indefinitely, just until we're more established. And meanwhile, this arrangement works for everyone. You get company, we help maintain the house, Celeste brings in income. While I sleep on the couch, Garrett's face flushed. It's just temporary, Mom. Once Celeste's brand grows enough, we'll probably move into our own place. A bigger place, maybe closer to Portland where the influencer community is more active. Probably, maybe. The language of people who had no intention of leaving their comfortable arrangement. I see, I said, picking up my book again. Well, we'll see how things develop. The next morning, my sister-in-law Patricia called. Vivian, dear, Garrett mentioned you've been having some difficulty adjusting to the new living arrangements. You know, honey, sometimes we have to be flexible with family. Young people have different needs these days. After Patricia came Garrett's college friend Marcus, whom I'd known since he was 20. Mrs. Hartwell, I hope you don't mind me reaching out. Garrett's worried about you. Maybe you just need some time to see how great this setup could be for everyone. The orchestrated campaign was both impressive and insulting. 2 weeks later, Harold called with news that made my heart race with anticipation. Vivian, I have 3 interested buyers. All cash offers, all above asking price. One family is particularly eager. They're relocating from San Francisco and need to close quickly. How quickly? 30 days if you're ready to move. I thought about Celeste upstairs, probably filming another video about manifesting abundance in what used to be my bedroom. I'm ready. There's one thing, Harold continued. The buyers would like to do a walkthrough next week. Will that be a problem with your current house guests? I'll handle it, I said, and I meant it. The next morning at breakfast, I made my announcement with the same casual tone Celeste had used when appropriating my bedroom. I'll be having some visitors next Tuesday around noon. I'd appreciate it if you could keep the noise down. Celeste looked up from her phone where she was scheduling her content calendar. Visitors? Anyone I know? Just some people interested in the house. Garrett, who was rushing to get ready for work, paused with his coffee cup halfway to his lips. Interested in what sense? In purchasing it, I said, buttering my toast with deliberate care. The silence that followed was profound. Celeste's phone clattered onto the table. Garrett's cup stopped midair. Purchasing? Celeste repeated, her voice climbing an octave. You're selling the house? I'm considering all my options for my retirement years, I replied. A smaller place might be more manageable for someone my age. But what about us? Garrett stammered. Where would we go? I looked at him with genuine curiosity. I imagine you'd find your own place like most married couples do. Celeste's face cycled through several expressions: shock, disbelief, and finally, a calculating anger I'd never seen before. Vivian, you can't be serious. This is our home too. We've put so much work into improving it. Have you? I asked mildly. I wasn't aware you'd made any financial contributions to the property. Not financial contributions, creative contributions. I've completely elevated the aesthetic of this place. Do you know how many of my followers have asked about the bedroom transformation? I'm literally creating value through my content. How much value exactly? She sputtered, apparently having never quantified her aesthetic contributions in monetary terms. It's not about money, Vivian. It's about family, about the life we've built here together. I nodded thoughtfully. The life where I sleep on the couch in my own home so you can film skincare videos in my bedroom? Garrett finally found his voice. Mom, please. Can we talk about this? I mean, if you really want to sell, maybe we could work something out. Maybe we could buy it from you. The suggestion was so ludicrous I almost laughed. They couldn't even pay their own utilities, but they thought they could purchase a $650,000 house? That's sweet, dear, I said, standing to clear my breakfast dishes. But the market appraisal suggests I should maximize my return on investment. You understand. The house showing went perfectly. The buying family, the Johnsons, were charmed by the craftsmanship, the mature garden, and the vintage details Edgar and I had preserved. They loved the wraparound porch, the built-in bookcases, and especially the master bedroom with its morning light, though Celeste's ring light and minimalist staging raised some eyebrows. The current decor is quite modern, Mrs. Johnson observed diplomatically. The property comes unfurnished, I assured her. The current occupants will be relocating soon. Celeste, who had been forced to suspend her content creation during the showing, hovered in the kitchen with barely contained fury. After the Johnsons left, she exploded. This is insane! You can't just sell our home without consulting us. We have rights. What rights exactly? I asked. Tenant rights. We've been living here for 2 years. There are laws about this. I pulled out a folder Harold had prepared. Actually, as guests without a lease who haven't paid rent, you have very limited rights. But I've prepared a formal 30-day notice to make everything legal and clear. Garrett appeared in the doorway, looking haggard. He'd clearly been making phone calls, probably trying to find alternative arrangements. Mom, please. I'm begging you. We have nowhere to go. Can't we work something out? Maybe we could sign a lease? Start paying you rent? It was touching, really, how the offer to pay rent only materialized when their free ride was ending. How much rent did you have in mind, Garrett? He and Celeste exchanged glances. Well, maybe we could start with something modest, like $800 a month. $800 for a 4-bedroom house with a wraparound porch and prize-winning garden in one of Portland's most desirable suburbs. The audacity was breathtaking. The market rate for this property would be approximately $2,800 monthly, I informed them. Plus utilities, of course. Celeste made a choking sound. $2,800? That's insane! We could get our own place for that. Yes, I agreed. You could, and you should. But Vivienne, she tried one last manipulation. Think about what you're doing. You're breaking up a family. You're putting your own son on the street. Is money really more important than family? I looked at her for a long moment. This young woman who had moved her equipment into my bedroom, relegated me to sleeping on a couch, and then had the audacity to lecture me about family values. Celeste, I said quietly, you didn't put family first when you moved me out of my own bedroom. You didn't consider family when you donated my belongings without asking. You didn't think about family when you turned my home into your personal studio without my consent. So please don't talk to me about family values now that the consequences have arrived. Her face crumpled, but I wasn't finished. Family means respect. It means consideration. It means not taking advantage of someone's love and generosity until there's nothing left to take. You've shown me exactly how much you value family, and I've learned from your example. So that's it? Garrett asked, his voice hollow. You're really throwing us out? I'm selling my house to people who will appreciate it and take care of it, I corrected. What you do next is your choice, just like moving in here was your choice, and staying for 2 years was your choice, and taking over my bedroom was your choice. The closing was scheduled for 3 weeks later. They had that long to figure out their next move. What happened next was so perfect, I couldn't have scripted it better. Despite knowing the house was sold, despite having received official notice to vacate, Celeste decided to proceed with her planned garden party. Apparently, she'd promised her followers a spring garden aesthetic event and couldn't bear to disappoint her audience. It's happening whether you like it or not, she announced 2 days before the event. I've already bought all the decorations, invited 15 influencers, and scheduled a professional photographer. This content is crucial for my brand partnership with that organic tea company. I watched from my kitchen window as she and Garrett spent the morning of the party setting up elaborate decorations throughout my rose garden. White balloon arches, vintage wooden signs with inspirational quotes, and string lights woven through the branches of Edgar's favorite apple tree. She'd even rented round tables with crisp white linens and hired a catering company to provide Instagram-worthy refreshments. The irony was exquisite. Here she was, throwing a celebration in a garden she'd soon have no access to, in a house that was no longer hers to use, spending money she didn't have on an event that would ultimately commemorate her eviction. Around noon, the influencers began arriving, a parade of perfectly styled young women with ring lights and professional cameras, all chattering excitedly about the gorgeous aesthetic and the amazing natural lighting. They posed among my roses, my peonies, my carefully cultivated flower beds, creating content that would live forever on the internet as a monument to the day Celeste threw a party in someone else's garden. I sat on my front porch with a cup of tea, watching the spectacle unfold. Several neighbors stopped by, curious about the commotion. "Having a party, Vivienne?" asked Mrs. Patterson from next door. "Celeste is," I replied. "I'm just observing." Around 3 o'clock, Harold arrived as scheduled for the final paperwork signing. The timing wasn't accidental. I'd specifically requested he come during the party, wanting to complete the sale while Celeste was literally dancing in someone else's garden. "Good afternoon, Vivienne," Harold said, his briefcase in hand. "Ready to finalize everything?" "Absolutely," I said, leading him inside where we could work at the kitchen table. Through the window, we could see Celeste posing with her tea company sponsor products, laughing and gesturing toward the roses while her photographer captured every angle. She was in her element, the center of attention, the hostess of what she clearly imagined was her garden party in her space. Quite an event, Harold observed dryly as he spread the closing documents across the table. Yes, I agreed, signing my name with a flourish. I think it's fitting somehow, a celebration of endings. The final signature was complete just as Celeste's photographer was capturing what would probably become the signature shot of the day. Celeste in a flowing white dress, arms outstretched among the roses, the afternoon sun creating a perfect halo effect around her blonde hair. It would make beautiful content for her social media. Too bad she'd never see those roses again. The eviction day arrived with the gentle persistence of spring rain. I watched from my new apartment window, a charming 2-bedroom place closer to downtown Maplewood, with a small balcony perfect for container gardening, as the moving trucks arrived at my old house. Celeste's garden party had been a viral success, ironically enough. Her follower count had spiked, and the tea company partnership had generated more income than she'd seen in months. But success in social media, as I'd learned, was ephemeral. The beautiful garden that had provided the backdrop for her moment of triumph was now nothing more than pixels on screens across the internet. Harold called around noon with an update. "They're out," he reported. "The Johnsons should be able to take possession by evening." Though I understand there was some drama about the moving truck getting stuck trying to navigate the circular driveway with all of Celeste's equipment. I smiled, picturing the scene. Edgar and I had specifically chosen that driveway design to slow down visitors and encourage them to appreciate the approach to our home. It seemed fitting that it would create one final inconvenience for Celeste's hasty departure. 3 days later, I received a text from Garrett. "Mom, we found a place. 1-bedroom apartment in Beaverton, starting over, I guess. Celeste says she needs time to process everything before she can talk to you." I typed back, "I'm glad you found somewhere. Take care of yourself." He didn't respond, but I hadn't expected him to. Some bridges, once burned, leave ashes that take time to settle. Maybe someday we'd find our way back to each other, but it would have to be on terms of mutual respect, not convenience. My new life settled into a rhythm I hadn't experienced in years. I joined a book club at the library, started taking watercolor classes at the community center, and began volunteering at the local animal shelter. My mortgage-free apartment meant my retirement income stretched comfortably, and for the first time in decades, I was accountable to no one but myself. The mystery novel I'd always planned to write finally began taking shape. Ironically, it was a story about an elderly librarian who solves crimes by paying careful attention to details others overlook. The protagonist had a particular talent for seeing through people who weren't what they seemed. One evening, as I was watering the herbs on my balcony, my phone buzzed with a notification. Out of curiosity, I'd started following Celeste's social media accounts after the move. Her content had shifted dramatically since losing access to the garden. Her apartment backdrop was cramped and poorly lit, and her engagement numbers were dropping steadily. The tea company partnership had apparently ended, and her recent posts had a desperate quality that made me feel something almost like pity. Almost. Her latest video was titled, "Starting Over, Finding Gratitude in Small Spaces." In it, she sat on what appeared to be a futon in a living room barely large enough for the camera setup, talking about learning to appreciate simplicity and discovering that happiness doesn't come from external spaces but from internal peace. The comments were brutal. Her followers, accustomed to the polished aesthetic of her garden party era, were unforgiving about the decline in production value. "What happened to your beautiful house?" one asked. "This apartment is so depressing," wrote another. I closed the app and returned to my herbs. There was something poetic about watching someone learn, in real time, that a lifestyle built on borrowed resources and other people's foundations was ultimately unsustainable. Celeste was discovering what I'd always known. Authentic happiness comes from what you build yourself, not what you take from others. 6 months later, I ran into Patricia at the grocery store. Edgar's sister had always been a source of family gossip, and true to form, she immediately launched into an update about Garrett and Celeste. "They're having such a hard time," she said, shaking her head with theatrical sympathy. "That tiny apartment, and Celeste's internet career isn't working out the way she hoped. Garrett's working double shifts just to make rent." "I'm sorry to hear that," I said, and meant it. I didn't wish poverty on anyone, even people who'd treated me poorly. "You know," Patricia continued, clearly working up to something, "I think they've both learned their lesson. Maybe if you reached out." I smiled and shook my head. "Patricia, I hope they figure things out. But I've learned something too. You can't build a relationship with people who see you as a resource rather than a person. Some lessons have to be learned the hard way." That night, I sat on my balcony with a cup of chamomile tea, looking out over the twinkling lights of Maplewood. My container garden was thriving. Roses in large pots, herbs in window boxes, even a small apple tree that would probably bear fruit next year. It wasn't the sprawling garden Edgar and I had created together, but it was mine, completely and utterly mine. I thought about the young woman I'd been when Edgar and I first bought our house, how we'd planned to fill it with children and grandchildren, holiday dinners and birthday parties. Some dreams don't unfold the way you expect them to. But sometimes, if you're very lucky, you discover that the dream of peace, of respect, of a life lived on your own terms, is worth more than all the family dinners in the world. True happiness, I'd learned, wasn't about how many people gathered around your table. It was about never again having to shrink yourself to accommodate people who saw your kindness as weakness, your generosity as entitlement, your home as their personal stage. At 71, I was finally living exactly the life I wanted, and that was worth more than any garden